to ride with me. The chair moves. Come on. I'm not that dumb.
Yeah, let me get my point straight. Then why did my 7-year-old daughter come tell me straight to my face that you're jumping up and down some dude's lap?
I was told that her ex was in the bed.
While you're out fishing?
Yes.
Who told you that?
A family member.
How would they know who I had in my bed?
They seen him.
Yeah, coming out of the house because you and him are friends. And you know
That's not her.
everything.
That's not
You
him.
know that he was at my house
It is
even
not
when
him.
you were
I'm
there
not talking
too.
about him.
She gave me, actually I have a list of men. It's about 6 to 7 guys.
67?
About 6 or 7.
I said, wait a minute now. She gave you 6 or 7 names
Yes, Your Honor.
of possible fathers.
Yes, Your Honor. One of them, we had to do a DNA test, and turned out he wasn't my father.
This revelation sets the stage for a tense hearing. Mr. Connor is up in arms, convinced he's not the daddy of the child in question, highlighting how this mix-up has turned his life and wallet upside down, including a stint behind bars for missing child support payments. But wait, there's more! Ms. Wallace's clapback is just a moment away.
Mr. Connor, you say a one-time fling with the defendant turned into more than 15 years of child support payments and even jail time for a child you have never believed is yours. You need today's results to prove you are not her child's father.
The plot thickens. Emotions start to boil as Mr. Wallace admits his trust in his mom, but can't shake the doubts recent actions by Mr. Connor have stirred up. Mr. Connor lays it all out, detailing the injustices he feels he suffered, ramping up the emotional intensity of the hearing. And guess what? It only gets juicier from here.
Mr. Wallace, you say you trust your mother, but acknowledge Mr. Connor's recent actions have given you doubt. Mr. Connor.
Today's results are so important, Your Honor, because I need to undo a terrible injustice that's been inflicted upon me and my family. It's caused a lot of problems, financially especially.
Yikes. Talk about a tough break. Mr. Connor paints a grim picture of his financial woes and the domino effect of his jail time due to unpaid child support, including losing his home and job. This saga has seriously shaken up his life, but keep your eyes peeled because the confrontation that's coming up next is a doozy.
It's times when I can't afford things. I've even been to jail. 2005, November the 5th until January 2006. There was no home for me to go to. I lost my car, I lost my job. I was 36 years old. I had to start all over. It's making my character look real bad, Your Honor. Know for a fact that she know he's not mine.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's getting bumpy. A fiery exchange erupts where Ms. Wallace accuses Mr. Connor of trying to dodge child support while he vehemently denies being the father. The courtroom is charged with emotional accusations and finger-pointing about responsibilities and past actions. And trust me, the tension is far from over.
Your Honor, he just wants off child support. For one, it was more than just a one-night fling.
You know Jeffrey isn't my child, and I have you on Facebook.
You can quit pointing your fingers because I'm an adult.
No, you're not. What kind
I'm
of adult?
42 years old. I raised my 3 kids by myself.
You won't believe your ears. Mr. Connor swears the encounter with Ms. Wallace was a brief fling that definitely didn't lead to conception, challenging the story she's been telling. He's adamant it was a one-and-done deal. But hold on, because Ms. Wallace's memory of events paints a whole other picture.
Can you tell me about that? Do you remember this relationship, encounter?
There wasn't a relationship. I met her through a family member. We all used to hang out a little bit here or there in the fall. We came together one time, and up on penetration, she changed her mind, and that was that. I never knew anything about Jeffrey.
This twist might just make your jaw drop, contrasting sharply with Mr. Connor's version. Ms. Wallace reminisces about what she remembers as a year-long romance filled with plenty of encounters, complicating the story even further. She even brings up the moment she found out she was expecting. And just when you thought it couldn't get any more tangled, the explosive confrontation that follows will have you on the edge of your seat.
Remember him and I being in a whole year relationship, and we had sex numerous of times, Your Honor. And he did know. Well, I got sick. How I found out that I was pregnant. I got sick. My mom taking me to my doctor's appointment, and that's when I found out I was 2 months pregnant. I called you and I told you. Back then we had pagers. Shut your lying butt up.
The drama doesn't stop. As the hearing unfolds, we dive into the nitty-gritty of Mr. Connor's sparse interactions with Jeffrey and the ongoing squabbles over paternity and child support. This segment lays bare the complex personal and legal entanglements involved. Keep watching, because the bombshell verdict up next will have you saying, no way.
And you agree to that, Miss Wallace?
Yes, ma'am.
That
yes,
happened.
Your Honor.
And
yes.
during the time from 3 to 4 months, 5 years old, did you all ever have conversations about Jeffrey at all?
Yes, me and her had a couple of conversations.
He told me that he wanted to be in his son's life. I told him I did not want to be in a relationship with him, you know.
You're a professional liar.
Here it comes, the big reveal everyone's been waiting for.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Connor, you are not the father.
I already knew it.
Judge Lake dives into the drama, chatting up Ms. Brown, who's suing her mama for a cool $2,200 because, get this, she doesn't know who her daddy. The courts sniffed around and found a dude who might be Pops. And now they're all about figuring out if they should send him for a paternity test.
Ms. Brown, you're here today suing your mother for $2,200 for emotional distress. You say she's caused you by not knowing who your biological father is.
Yes,
now, the
Your Honor.
court has located one possible father and must determine if there is enough evidence to order a paternity test.
Ms. Brown spills it all about taking her mom to court, saying it stings less than her wonky childhood. She throws some serious shade at her mom for playing peekaboo, basically never being around and keeping dad's identity a big ol' secret despite her constant nagging.
So, Ms. Brown, how does it feel to be suing your mother?
Not as bad as it felt growing up. My mom she wasn't there as much as she should have been there. I asked her on several occasions, do you know who my father could be? My mama just said, I don't know. Every time I asked, it was, I don't know. She gave me, actually, I have a list of men. It's about 6 or 7 guys.
Ms. Brown brings out a list, yeah, a literal list of 6 or 7 potential daddies. Plot twist, one guy already flunked the dad test, DNA test, that is. They're zeroing in on Mr. Clifton Smith, who's also in the courtroom, sweating bullets probably because he hasn't been tested yet.
She gave you 6 or 7 names of possible fathers.
Yes, Your Honor.
Are they ranked in order of probability?
No, ma'am, they're not, Your Honor. One of them, we had to do a DNA test. Turned out he wasn't my father.
And is he listed on this?
Yes, ma'am.
Which one is he?
He's the first one.
The man in the Navy, Lee.
Yes, Your Honor.
Not the father, proven by a DNA test.
Shantia lays it all out about how rough her life's been, from bouncing around foster homes to quitting school to nurse her sick grandma. This whole not knowing dad business really did a number on her.
I was in and out of foster care on 3 different occasions. Foster care wasn't so good, you know. I had 4 brothers and a sister. I didn't know where they were. They got split up too. My grandmother got us back. She got sick. I missed 3 months of school. I was in alternative school. I got kicked out because my grandma got sick and I had to take care of her.
Mom, Yolinda Overstreet, gets back with some real talk about her struggles with the mom gig. She admits she was pretty much winging it, overwhelmed by raising 6 kids and just not nailing it.
Ms. Brown Overstreet, how does it feel to hear your daughter speak with such pain in her heart?
I feel like my daughter hates me because of the fact that I wasn't always there and I didn't have a handbook on how to be a parent. I had my kids young and it was 6, I have 6 of them. So it wasn't like it was just one child. I had a hard time trying to be a mother. I didn't know how to raise my kids, and when I lost custody of them, I tried my best to get them back.
He waltzes into the courtroom and shares a wild first encounter with Ms. Brown, thinking she might be his daughter and all that jazz. Despite the mix-up, he's all heart, hoping he's the dad.
We go back a long time. So when I called her, she was like that she was trying to find the father of our daughter. I said, wouldn't it be funny if I was the father? And she was like, oh yeah, I forgot all about you. So when I pulled up, I get out the car and my cousin pointed her out. So I was looking at her. So she came up and I said something to her first and she was smiling at me like I was trying to flirt with her or something. So I'm like, yo, whoa, hold up here. I might be your father. You busy trying to flirt with me.
Mr. Smith tells a tale of a gnarly injury that had doctors saying he might never be a dad. So the plot thickens with whether this guy could even be the father. The court calls in a doc to drop some science on us.
Okay, my reason is when I was 10 years old, I hurt myself really bad. Well, I was folding it back into a couch. My underwear got hooked on a spring and I yanked it, but it went in a lot more of my underwear and just ripped everything open.
Oh, goodness.
That
was the problem. It was horrible. So I didn't remember even having sex with him. So it wasn't my fault that I didn't remember. He probably remembered it, but I didn't remember it.
Dr. Gator, cool as a cucumber, explains how Mr. Smith might still shoot and score as a dad despite his earlier mishap, thanks to how nature works. Looks like the court's all set to make Mr. Smith take the big daddy test.
It's absolutely possible, in my opinion, for Mr. Smith or someone with a testicular injury such as him to father a child. On average, a man releases anywhere between 50 million and 1 billion sperm at a time. So based on the numbers, it's definitely possible for someone with a testicular injury to still father a child, as long as the swimmers are normal and healthy.
DNA results are in, and guess what?
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Smith, you are not Shantia's father. I'm sorry.
Ms. Hernandez drops a bombshell that her estranged hubby started denying their 3-year-old munchkin, Ligana, only after eyeing a younger chick. This accusation frames the emotional and legal stakes of the proceedings.
Ms. Hernandez, 4 years ago, you met and then married your much younger but seemingly perfect man. You say your estranged husband started denying you and your now 3-year-old daughter, Liana, only after he found another younger woman.
Mr. Hernandez claps back with an accusation of his own, claiming claiming Ms. Hernandez played house with other men while he was off playing sailor on a fishing boat. This introduces the core conflict regarding the paternity of Lagana and their crumbling trust.
Mr. Hernandez, you claim that during the marriage you often spent weeks at a time on a fishing boat for work, only to find out upon returning home that your wife had other men in and out of your house while you were at sea. You and your girlfriend are here to prove Liana is not yours.
We find out Lagana is 3 and missing her daddy big time, which highlights the emotional toll this mess is taking on her.
It's heartbreaking. It's hard for me to put my daughter down to sleep. All she does is says, dad, 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 all day.
How old is she?
She's 3. She'll be 4 in December.
But the man you believe is her biological father is denying her.
Yes. I don't know what to tell her, Your Honor.
Do you know that this young child is calling out for you, Mr. Hernandez?
No, Your Honor.
We dive into how Ms. Hernandez met Mr. Hernandez, showing us the start of their whirlwind that quickly went from sweet to sour.
How did you all even meet?
I was at a friend of mine's house. He comes up about an hour later walking up to my friend's house.
Okay, so he came over your friend's house.
Yes.
And you met him.
Yes.
Did you immediately hit it off?
Yes.
So Mr. Hernandez, you liked her, she liked you, you all started a relationship.
Yes.
Later on got married.
2 years later.
So you got married 2 years later.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez starts doubting baby Lagana is his, all thanks to neighborhood gossip about Ms. Hernandez's ex snooping around their home while he was away.
I was told that her ex was in the bed.
While you're out fishing.
Yes.
Who told you that?
A family member.
A family member of yours or hers?
Mine.
How would they know who I had in my bed?
They seen him.
Yeah, coming out of the house because you and him are friends. And you know
That's not her.
everything.
That's not
You
him.
know that he was at my house
It is
even
not
when
him.
you were
I'm
there
not talking
too.
about him.
The hospital scene turns into a reality show when family members allegedly tell Mr. Hernandez he's not the father right after Lagana's birth.
What happened at the birth?
2 family members came to the hospital and told me that's not my kid.
Two
Which
family
family
members
members?
of whom?
Hers.
Hers?
Who?
Your mother.
Your mom. Oh, wait.
Because my mama doesn't like you.
Okay then.
They argue over why Lagana didn't get Mr. Hernandez's last name, suggesting Ms. Hernandez had her doubts from the get-go.
You want her to have your last
I
name.
literally argued with her at the hospital.
No, you didn't.
Then why did I was gonna sign the paperwork to do it for you on the birth certificate and you said no?
Why did you sign it when you knew I had put her last name as Lamont? You shouldn't have signed it.
Judge Lake calls out the inconsistencies in Ms. Hernandez's tales, making everyone in the courtroom scratch their heads.
This testimony you are giving right now is faulty, right? It is not adding up to me. And I need answers. I need to understand from you. Is there any other possible father for your daughter besides Mr. Hernandez?
No.
The DNA test results are announced.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Hernandez, you are the father.
Told you.
Buckle up, folks. Mr. Nicholas kicks things off with a bombshell, doubting he's the dad to little Naomi and Nathaniel because, well, Mrs. Nicholas has been a bit too social. He lays it all out, accusing her of sneaky shenanigans with just about everyone, from strangers to his office buddies. The crowd's gasping like they're watching a soap opera, and you can almost hear the popcorn crunching. Wait till you hear what's next. It's a doozy.
You have brought your wife to court today. You claim you cannot be the father of 4-year-old Naomi because your wife is a habitual cheater and she cannot be trusted. You say you have shocking evidence of your wife's outrageous sexual infidelity, including encounters with strangers in public places.
You're not gonna believe this one. Mrs. Nicholas steps up, admits she goofed big time, but hey, she's seen the light, found religion, and is ready to turn over a new leaf. She's all about proving Mr. Nicholas is the daddy and fixing this hot mess of a marriage. Her plea has the courtroom holding their breath, wondering what's next. Hold on to your seats because this ride's just getting started.
Mrs. Nicholas, you actually admit you've made some mistakes in your marriage, but you claim you have now turned your life around and you are a church-going woman who deserves another chance. You state that once these DNA tests prove Mr. Nicholas is the father of all of your children, you are hoping to repair your marriage.
Oh boy, here it comes. Mr. Nicholas drops a juicy tidbit about a rather awkward encounter at his sushi job. Picture this. He's slinging sushi rolls when a random dude claims Mrs. Nicholas is turning the bathroom into her personal love den. Stuck at work like a fish out of water, unable to confirm the sordid tale. Just wait, next twist is even wilder.
Let me tell you this first of all. You know, the sushi spot I used to work at, right, is a hot stuff. People come in and then out. Some guy comes up to me and tells me straight up to my face that my wife is performing oral sex in the bathroom. Yeah.
Wait a minute, you're at work, the sushi restaurant, and a guy just comes up to you
and tells me that she's performing oral sex in the bathroom.
Hold up, rewind.
during your shift, and then you did what?
I continued working. What am I supposed to do? I couldn't leave my job.
Talk about awkward. Mr. Nicholas tells a tale taller than a roller coaster about his wife supposedly getting frisky on a theme park ride while their kiddo was right there. Mrs. Nicholas calls bull, arguing who in their right mind would pull such a stunt with a kid tagging along. The plot thickens, and you just can't make this stuff up. Up next, it's more he said. She said with an extra helping of scandal.
She went into the Transformer rides with my 7-year-old daughter. Tell you that straight up. Tells me straight to my face that my wife was having sex in the ride.
First of all, why would I have sex while my daughter was in the ride with me? And the chair moves. Come on. I'm not that dumb.
Yeah, let me get my point straight. Then why did my 7-year-old daughter come tell me straight to my face that you're jumping up and down some dude's lap?
Here we go again. Mr. Nicholas isn't done yet. He's got more dirt. This time he's dishing about his wife and his pizza place manager cooking up more than just pies behind his back. Mrs. Nicholas admits she was looking for a slice of attention he couldn't serve up. But don't go anywhere, because there's more saucy secrets coming up.
For example, the pizza joint I used to work at. She was having an affair with my manager.
Oh, yes. I'm being honest with you. Yes, I did have an affair. On top of that, every time I try to talk to you, you're just not there for me.
Yeah, just because he's been buying you diapers, all that. On
diapers? Yeah, every time I ask you, you just take off. You spend your money on something else. That's what you do.
And then
yeah, because I'm stressed out because
you
you
ask his co-worker to get you some diapers.
Grab your popcorn. This is getting good. Mr. Nicholas, deep in thought, wonders aloud if chatting up another lady about his woes counts as stepping out. The judge lays down the law. Yep, that's emotional cheating, buddy. Mrs. Nicholas owns up to her past flings, hoping to clear the air. You think this is juicy? Just wait till the next part.
Can I ask you one question? Is it cheating if I were to go kick it with another female and just talk to her about my problem? Is that considered
There's
cheating?
emotional cheating too, Mr. Nicholas.
I know I've been with other guys, but I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I know I messed up in the past. That's past.
Okay, can you please just explain to me what about the dude you slept with that looks dead on just like me?
Oh, I meant that one.
Oh, it just keeps getting not better.
Get ready for a curveball. The spotlight shifts back to the kids. Mrs. Nicholas is dead set on proving these munchkins look just like Mr. Nicholas, hoping it'll squash his doubts once and for all. The tension's through the roof as they duke it out with words, each hoping to clinch the win in this paternity puzzle. Fasten your seatbelts. We're about to dive into the results.
Do the DNA and prove him wrong, because I'm getting tired of hearing him saying that, oh, they're not my kids. Come on, they just look like you.
But so does the other guy you slept with. Do you understand why he potentially, maybe, could have some doubt?
Because I cheated on him, but all the time when I was
the kids don't look like me though.
They look like me, that's why. Come on now.
No, there's got to be a part of it where the kids got to look like me.
And here's the tearjerker finale.
It has been determined, Mr. Nicholas, that you are his father.
Exactly, I told you. God.
Right off the bat, Mr. Johnson spills the beans about his mega doubts concerning his fiance's daughter, Camilla, suspecting she might actually be his fiance's ex's kid. He lays it out clear. If the DNA test proves she isn't his, he's hitting the road. No looking back. Grab some popcorn, because this drama's just heating up.
Mr. Johnson, you claim you are here today with a relationship on the line. Now, you are convinced your fiance's 8-month-old daughter, Camilla, was fathered by her ex-boyfriend and not you. If the DNA results prove your deepest fears are true, you say you plan to leave her and never look back.
Now, Mr. Johnson's talking money. He wants Ms. Quintero to cough up $275 for kiddo expenses. Camilla isn't his. He's been playing daddy, but keeps one eye on the exit just in case. Stick around, things are about to get even juicier.
Mr. Johnson, you're asking the court to award you $275 in back child care expenses. If the results prove Camilla is not your daughter, you'd like Ms. Quintero to pay you back.
Flashback to a rocky romance roller coaster. Mr. Johnson and Ms. Quintero's love saga has more twists than a pretzel. The bombshell drops, she's pregnant, but the timing's all shades of wrong. Mr. Johnson's reeling, and you'll want to see what comes out when they air more dirty laundry.
I say about a year ago, we ended up talking again. She calls me up one day, and she's like, hey, I'm gonna go look for some apartment. You should come with. I was a little busy at the time, so I told her no. I got stuff to do, I can't do it. I called her back later, and she never picked up. She calls me up on the phone and like, hey, I'm pregnant. I was at my brother's house, we were having a little get together, we're drinking, just having fun. I tell her right away, hey, I gotta call you back.
Court turns into a soap opera as both admit they weren't just playing house with each other during baby-making season. Mr. Johnson whips out a calendar, trying to prove he might not be the dad based on the X-File timelines. Buckle up, the next revelations are gonna be wild.
So, during the window of conception, did you have sex with Mr. Johnson and your ex?
Yeah.
Mr. Johnson, when was your daughter born?
My daughter was born November 6, 2013.
What are you holding?
I just had calendar. It just states when Cammie was born. The 2 months at the top is midway when me and Maria started talking in March, and February was the month when she was with her ex.
Workplace chit-chat turns Mr. Johnson's doubts into a full-blown conspiracy theory about Camilla's real dad. He's thinking of ditching the engagement if the kid ain't his. This roller coaster's got a few more loops. Watch how they handle the next curve.
I'm at work and I have people coming up to me like, hey, you know, your girlfriend was with this guy at this time.
What do people at work know about your business?
I publicly display my daughter, and everybody in our community pretty much knows Maria was with that other guy a long time.
But I was with him for 3 years and never got pregnant.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean it can't
it's just
happen.
like the time I get with him for about 2 to 3 weeks, I get pregnant, but yet me and you.
Ms. Quintero throws a curveball, accusing Mr. Johnson of only playing the not my kid card when he gets caught flirting. She's calling him out, saying he's got a convenient case of daddy doubt. The tension's thick. You won't want to miss what's tossed out next.
So usually he denies her when we're arguing. That's what I feel like. When we're arguing about him talking to other girls, so are you trying to just push it on me like, oh, she might not be mine because you just got caught talking to another girl?
Oh, Your Honor, it's not like that all the time. I've brought it up.
What is it like?
I brought it up plenty of times. There'll just be times I'm like holding her and I'm just like, man, you just don't look like me.
You're too pretty to be mine.
Finally, the moment of truth.
In the case of Johnson v. Quintero, when it comes to 8-month-old Camilla Johnson, Mr. Johnson, you are her father.
Ms. Webster steps up and drops a bombshell. She thinks Mr. Ware might actually be her dad. Talk about awkward family dinners. She's all in, hoping today's DNA results will spill the tea. Brace yourself because this family tree is about to get shaken up.
Ms. Webster, you recently learned shocking news that Myron Smith, the man you believe to be your dad and who paid child support for you, may not be your biological father. Now you've dragged the defendant, Mr. Ware, to paternity court to prove that he is your father and claim today's results will prove your case.
Ms. Webster gets suspicious thanks to some side comments and a few too many family resemblances. Maybe genetics do tell the truth? This revelation has her rethinking her whole life story, and just wait till you hear what she finds out next. This is gold.
Your Honor, I worked in a beauty salon with some of his relatives. They always kind of had something against me. I heard a relative say that that's not none of your father. I started questioning. I asked my mom, I talked to Mr. Smith, like, why are they saying that I'm not a part of their family? He said, you will always be my daughter. I believe in my heart that you are, and no matter what, you'll always be my daughter.
The plot thickens when Ms. Webster discovers she and the man who's supposed to be her dad don't even share the same blood type. Science comes into play, throwing a wrench into everything she knew. Buckle up, because the roller coaster is just taking off.
I still had doubts. I was a blood donor. We talked about blood types, and I know that the mother and the father of the child will have one or the other. Me and Mr. Smith don't have the same blood type. I was in question again. I'm very curious. I was with my cousin, Miss Smith, and she said, you know, I really believe in my heart that Mr. Ware is your father. You chuckle like him. She said, if I close my eyes and you both chuckle, you wouldn't know the difference.
Here comes a curveball. Ms. Webster finds her supposed dad's family all over her baby book. If that doesn't scream family secrets, I don't know what does. The courtroom's about to get rocked with this one.
There was an address. They had the
relatives of Mr. Ware.
Yes, Your Honor.
Have signed into your baby book when you were born. So, Mr. Ware, you knew of this young woman.
Yes, I did.
But you do not believe you're her biological father.
No, I do not. Because at the time when her mom and I were dating, she was in between two cities, Louisville, Kentucky, and Dayton, Ohio.
Fasten your seatbelts. Ms. Webster goes to church, praying for divine signs about her daddy dilemma, and bam, Mr. Ware pops up right behind her. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. This moment is packed with emotion, and it's not even the finale.
We went to visit him at his church. I knew who he was, but he didn't know who I was. And knowing who my father is one of them. And I came to the Lord. I went to the altar. They had altar call, and I went up and I just prayed that God give me a sign to reveal. So I'm praying and I'm nervous, but I just felt this energy. And when they asked for the prayer warriors to come out, when I got up, Mr. Ware was standing right behind me.
Mr. Smith steps into the courtroom, adding more spice to this paternity stew. He's been writing checks for child support, but doubts linger. Truth is just a DNA test away. Get ready for the big reveal.
You have been paying child support.
Yes, I have.
But you don't believe you're her biological father.
No, I don't. Miss Webster was born September the 17th, which means that she had to be conceived either late December or January. Right there, she was born September the 17th. Last time I was home on leave was late November. So in order for her to be born in September, she had to be conceived either late December or early January. I was in Fort Hood, Texas.
Ms. Brady, the mom, is up next, and she's sticking to her story that Mr. Smith is the daddy, despite him being hundreds of miles away when the magic needed to happen. What's coming up will definitely throw you for a loop.
Her biological father is Mr. Myron Smith.
He says he was gone. He was serving the time that she was conceived. concede. Is that not true?
Right, but Mr. Smith also came home on leave. Once we got together, Mr. Smith went back to the service, and then I was pregnant. When Mr. Smith called me one day, I said, you know what? I'm pregnant.
Hold on to your popcorn.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Ware, you are not her father.
I do not just say this is my nephew. If you go on my Facebook, his pictures are everywhere. I want to make sure.
You have doubts?
Because if I have doubts and that is my brother, baby, I still want to be there.
No,
my
because
brother's
I
not
don't
there
want you to
for
be
him.
there. If you have doubts, there's no need for you to be in my child's life.
That's exactly why my brother said he didn't know.
I asked her mother that Jasmine was my firstborn, and that was good enough for me, Your Honor. We went on and had 4 more children after that, and they all belong to me. Now, my point in here, he would have addressed me before he sent her a Facebook or whatever. I know he couldn't be able to find me because we had no contact with each other.
She said her and her husband does a good job of taking
Fiance,
care.
and he do.
No,
and
that's,
he do.
That's a text
and he
that
do.
was sent
and he do.
to me.
He has been a much better father than Quincy.
So,
trust that, because he stepped up. My daughter is going to call him dad. Quincy never been around.
Mrs. Thayer kicks off by hoping to glue what's left of her marriage back together. And boy, does she mean business. She's here to prove that Mr. Thayer is indeed the daddy-o of not one, but 2 munchkins, Cadence and Matthew Jr. Sounds like a Maury episode, doesn't it?
Miss Thayer, you are here today in hopes of saving what is left of your marriage. In doing so, you've summoned your husband, Mr. Thayer, to paternity court to prove that not only did he father your 19-month-old daughter, Cadence, also your 3-year-old son, Matthew Jr.
Mr. Thayer's on stage with trust issues thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. He's ready to hit the divorce button if the kiddos turn out not to be his. Talk about drama.
You say you absolutely do not trust your wife, and you are prepared to get a divorce today when the results reveal that either one or both kids are not yours.
We don't even have sex anymore. What married couple doesn't have sex? We're young. The back and forth, arguing all the time. We argue so much that my son starting to get mad and yell and repeat some of the stuff that we say.
Oh yeah, they did. The Thayers initially signed up for a no-strings-attached fling, and now look where that got them. This backstory is juicier than a season finale cliffhanger.
So this doubt is wreaking havoc in your marriage.
Yeah, in my mind, we're basically separated because we don't sleep in the same room no more. When we're around each other, she's on her phone. We just sit in the same house and we don't even communicate no more. I don't feel that connection with her. Or the kids, for that matter.
All of this is because of the doubts regard to the paternity of the 2 youngest children.
Ms. Thayer hit Mr. Thayer with the "I'm pregnant" surprise, and suddenly things got real. This wasn't in their casual fling contract, folks.
At some point, you find out you're pregnant.
Yes, I didn't know what to say because I wasn't planning on having any more kids. I mean, I had 3 girls already, so I was already a single mom.
Were you all using protection?
No.
Fail to plan to fail.
And then I believe she was pregnant before we even got together. Because Matthew was born 3 weeks early. She told me about 3 weeks in that she was pregnant.
The emotional gloves are off, and these two are throwing accusations like confetti at a parade. Mr. Thayer's doubting the entire timeline, and honestly, who can blame him?
But you claim she was with somebody else approximately 3 weeks before.
It hurts. I mean, I love him or I wouldn't have married him. This is the person that I want to spend my life with.
This is my first child too, Your Honor. I was excited because I didn't have no kids, I didn't have a family or anything, and she was gonna give that to me. That I can grow with and I can watch them grow and I can teach them all the things that they're supposed to do in their life that I didn't do in mine.
Cue the suspicion music because Mr. Thayer can't figure out how they made baby Cadence when the bedroom's been colder than a penguin's toenails. Yep, he went there.
Your doubt surrounding Cadence. That is your younger child. You all have 2 children together, potentially.
Yeah, because around the time that she was conceived, we weren't really having sex.
Find out she's pregnant again and immediately doubt.
How are we gonna have a kid if we don't have sex?
So you testified earlier, Ms. Thayer, that you were in a sexless marriage.
Yes. I mean, when he's talking about with Cadence.
The results are in, and oh snap, it's not looking good for Ms. Thayer. The machine tagged her as more deceptive than a fox in a henhouse.
You'd like to tell us before I read these results.
Like I said, the only people that I messed with was during the break that we had that he's talking about where I moved out.
Ms. Thayer, you were asked, in the last 4 years, have you had sexual contact with anyone other than the 2 men you have previously disclosed? You said no. The lie detector determined you were being deceptive.
Drum rolls, please.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Thayer, you are the father.
I told you.
One of them.
I told you.
We still need matching.
You won't believe this. The crowd goes wild when Ms. Moore throws shade, claiming Mr. Butler's wife is playing puppet master with his doubts. Ms. Moore is all fired up, telling everyone that the only reason Mr. Butler is second-guessing fatherhood is because of his wife's sneaky ways, causing quite the stir among the audience. And guess what? The drama's just getting started.
Mr. Butler has doubts he fathered your 1-year-old daughter, and that's because of his manipulating wife. Mr. Butler, you argue you've been told on multiple occasions by the plaintiff herself that you are not her child's father.
Oh, snap. Here comes Mr. Butler with his own side of the story, doubting he's the daddy because Ms. Moore once told him he wasn't. He lays it out, recounting times Ms. Moore straight up denied his paternity, which gets the judge digging deeper. Buckle up, because the roller coaster is about to drop.
One time was because he was harassing me, him and his so-called quote-unquote wife.
So you admit, Ms. Moore, you told him you're not the child's father?
One time.
It's happened because she told me I'm not the dad. She told me I'm not the father.
Why would she tell you that?
The baby don't even look like me.
This just got real. Ms. Moore and Ms. Harrison are now locking horns over whether Mr. Butler did his part as a dad. The clash heats up over some juicy texts about another dude stepping up as dad, showing just how messy this situation is. Keep your eyes peeled, because there's more tea coming your way.
And
That's a text that was sent to me.
He has been a much better father than Quincy.
So,
trust that.
my husband do a good job keeping me and...
Because he stepped up. My daughter is going to call him dad. Quincy never been around.
Hold on to your popcorn, folks. We're diving into the nitty-gritty of the pregnancy timeline, the court questioning when exactly Ms. Moore got pregnant. This critical convo throws some serious doubt on Mr. Butler's paternity claims. The plot thickens, and you'll want to stick around for the next twist.
The baby looked just like Quincy. Now, if she can't do the math, that's her problem. She needs to sit down. December 11th, the doctor told me I was 7.5 weeks.
And the baby was born...
July 26th. I had 2 dates. I had an emergency C-section on July 26th. Was Quincy anywhere to be around?
No. You didn't tell me.
Here's a heart tugger for you. Ms. Moore shares the tough tale of her labor and the emergency C-section. It's a crucial point that highlights just how intense things were during the birth, with Mr. Butler nowhere in sight. The emotions are high, and the next part is sure to tug at your heartstrings even more.
My doctor came in and told me that my baby's heart rate was going down. She was getting less oxygen. I did not see my baby. I went to an emergency C-section. Out of recovery for 45 minutes, I touched my baby and signed my baby off, which is the city that he stays in. I did not tell him where my baby was. I know how mental he is.
Can you feel the drama heating up? Mr. Butler confesses he's torn about his role in his maybe daughter's life amidst the ongoing feud with the 2 leading ladies. His admission sheds light on his personal turmoil and the tangled web of emotions surrounding the paternity mystery. And hold tight, because the truth bomb is just about to be dropped.
That's because it's being tugged on.
I'm playing tug of war. If it's come back to be my daughter, I'm not gonna never see her.
And what is it? You feel like Ms. Moore wanted to be with you, and since that didn't work out, Zamar's her way of getting back at you?
Yes, ma'am.
Here it comes, big reveal.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Butler, you are her father.
Buckle up, folks. Ms. Sherman kicks things off by accusing Ms. Costello of mooching off her sad aunt both emotionally and financially. She's adamant that Ms. Costello is claiming her late brother fathered Ms. Costello's kiddo, and she's here to stop her aunt from spending a dime on a kid that might not be related. Stick around. It's just getting juicy.
Ms. Sherman, you claim the defendant is taking advantage of your grieving aunt emotionally and financially by claiming your deceased brother is her child's father. You need today's results because you won't allow your aunt to support a child who is not your brother's.
Things are heating up. We dive into the emotional deep end. Ms. Costello spills the beans about how supportive Ms. Thomas, the aunt, has been. Throwing baby showers, buying diapers, the works, all while denying she's taking advantage of anyone. She insists it's all on the up and up. Trust me, you'll want to see what's next.
My aunt threw Marissa a baby shower. She supports this baby financially, as in buying his diapers, his clothes, his food when he is at the house.
That's his family.
We don't know that.
To decide to
we don't
do
know that.
Erica was there with me at the hospital.
We don't know
when I had the baby. She videotaped the entire thing, and when Ryan was born, she saw the crown of his head and said, he is a Sherman.
Hold on to your popcorn. Ms. Costello lays out her love timeline like a soap opera, breakups, makeups, and everything in between. She details the roller coaster relationship with Ryan, adding layers of complication to the paternity drama. It's a hot mess and a half, and there's more chaos to come.
I found out I was pregnant in the middle of March. At that point in time, I contacted Ryan and I told him, hey, I think I'm pregnant. And at that point in time, he was like, well, is this my kid? And I said, well, I started to talk to somebody else. He started to talk to somebody else. And then towards the middle of, after After me and the other guy had intercourse with each other, intercourse probably about a week later.
You're not ready for this twist. Ms. Sherman throws down the doubt card hard, fueled by rumors and whispers from her late brother about the baby's paternity. The convo takes a dive into their past flings and flirts, stirring up a paternity pot boiler you can't miss. The tea is piping hot and it's about to spill.
I do not just say, this is my nephew. If you go on my Facebook, his pictures are everywhere. I want to make sure. You see how my aunt is looking? How she is crying?
You have doubts?
Because if I have doubts and that is my brother, baby, I still want to be there.
No,
my
because
brother's
I
not
don't
there
want you to
for
be
him.
there. If you have doubts, there's no need for you to be in my child's life.
That's exactly why my brother said he didn't know.
Guess what? The results are in.
It has been determined by this court. The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Nalencia Sherman and Ryan Costello Sherman is 97.8%. You are related.
Yes! In a twist right off the bat, Ms. Osborne drops a bombshell, accusing her mom of fudging the truth about who her real dad is, insisting it's gotta be Billy Jack Fitzmaurice. They've even called in the big guns with a paternity test to settle this family feud once and for all. Buckle up, because this family roller coaster is just leaving the station.
Ms. Osborne, you have brought your mother to court because you claim she lied to you about the identity of your biological father. You are here to prove Billy Jack Fitzmaurice is your dad. Finally prove the truth. You admit your daughter believed that Mr. Fitzmaurice was her dad, but now stand in court to prove that another man is her biological father.
When Savannah was just 12, out of the blue, her mom hints there might be another dad candidate on the scene. This bomb drops while they're chilling and watching TV, sparking a family drama that sends Savannah dialing her aunt for some serious backup. Grab your popcorn, folks. This soap opera's got more twists coming right up.
We were just sitting watching TV, and all of a sudden she looks at me, she says, you know, there's a possibility that another man could be your father.
And what was your reaction?
At the moment, I didn't know what to do. I kind of just left the room, went and called my aunt.
What happened?
Savannah was very upset because she thought that Billy, my brother, was not her father. I assured her that I believe 100% that Billy is her father.
Donna admits she let Savannah believe Billy was her pops because his family was stable enough to give her a good life. It's a bit of a whoopsie moment that opens a can of worms about family secrets and who's who. Hang tight, because there's more tea about to be spilled.
Yes, I told her that another guy could be her father, but I never told her that Billy Jack was her father.
For 12 years, who were you saying was her biological father?
I didn't say who was her father. And at the time his family took her in, I was young. I knew that they would have a good life for her, and they stepped up and asked to take her, and I knew that they could provide a better life for her at that time.
It's heating up as Donna spills the beans about juggling romances with Billy Jack and another mystery man during the crucial baby-making time. This confession tosses a wrench into the Who's the Daddy mystery, setting the stage for some major drama. Keep your eyes peeled. Plot's about to thicken.
Because I was back and forth between the two, I was with the other guy a lot more than I was with Billy Jack.
During the window of conception, you were sleeping with both men?
Yes. I just feel in my heart that the other guy is her father.
And I see you can't even look at your mother right now. You're not even turning your head.
Because I just want to know the truth of who my father is.
Savannah lays it all out, confronting her mom about the daddy dilemma that's been gnawing at her since she was 12. It's a full-on emotional unload where secrets spill and tears flow. This is some grade A drama. Guess what? It ain't over yet. There's more heart-to-hearts on the way.
It really feels horrible to not know who my real father is. After growing all these years to believe somebody else was my father, and it couldn't be.
I am sorry, Savannah. You was young. When you was 12, figured that you was old enough to be able to handle it. So I waited to help you because I didn't know how you would react being so young and me telling you that, if it would confuse you more.
You can almost hear the sad violins as Savannah talks about the pain of dragging her mom to court over this paternity pickle. It's a rough ride, and she's just looking for some honest answers. Don't go anywhere. Auntie's about to step into the spotlight, and she's got a story to tell.
At the end of the day, it must hurt that you had to drag your mother to court today.
Yes, it really does, but I need to know the truth. Brought up on a lie, I have to know.
Because the young woman you believe is your niece.
Yes, Savannah is my niece, and I love her dearly. And we were always told from day one from Donna that Savannah was I call her our baby, but our niece.
Auntie Brooks jumps in with a backstory that's part soap opera, part reality TV. She reminisces about the shock and awe of Donna joining the family under, let's say, colorful circumstances. The family saga unfolds with more layers than a reality TV show marathon. And yep, there's even more juicy bits to come.
So when he brought Donna home, we were a little shocked because at the time she was working as a stripper. We didn't know what to believe, but we believed my brother, Donna, both when they said that Billy was her biological father, that she was pregnant with Savannah, and that was our family.
I had told both men that I was pregnant.
And now we're talking about whether these sisters might have different dads, which just adds more spice to this already zesty family gumbo. The chat turns to similarities, suspicions, and family whispers that have everyone guessing. Stay tuned, because the DNA results are about to drop.
So growing up, you just felt like I have a sister, but we have two different fathers.
I also believe Billy could be her father.
Oh, really?
Because at the time that Donna conceived Miss Patton, she was also with my brother, back and forth between my brother and the other man. And I see similarities between Mrs. Patton, this is his other daughter here, Marissa, and Savannah.
And bam!
It has been determined by court. Ms. Brooks and Savannah are related.
Here we go. Miss Hayslip rolls up with a big claim, ready to stir the pot. She's here to prove that Mr. Hayslip, who she insists is her dad, really is her biological father. She's even brought her aunt along because, hey, you gotta have a cheer squad for moral support, right? This is just the opening act, folks. The scene is set for some real family drama.
You are seeking a DNA test to prove that Mr. Hayslip, the defendant, is your biological father. You've believed he is your biological father for many years, yet you say he has never allowed you into his life at the time of your conception, but you claim you were always told that Mr. Hayslip was your father.
And bam, the plot thickens. Mr. Hayslip fires back, determined to prove he's not the father. He's been dishing out child support for 19 years, and now he's had enough. He even wants Miss Hayslip to drop his last name like it's hot, no matter what the test results say. Stick around, because you won't believe what he says happened to him next.
Now, Mr. Hayslip, you say you want to prove that Miss Hayslip is not your biological daughter today. You admit to being very angry because you claim you've been forced to pay child support for the past 19 years for a child you did not father, so that she no longer has yours after today's test results are revealed.
Yeah. Hold the phone. This just got juicy. Imagine minding your own business, driving, and boom, cops pull you over and drop a child support bomb on you. That's Mr. Hayslip's story, and he's sticking to it. He had no clue until a cop slapped cuffs on him and spilled the beans. What's next? Miss Hayslip's going to hit you right in the feels with her side of things.
I had moved from southern Michigan to northern Michigan. I was on my way back, about a 200-mile trip to southern Michigan. I was pulled over for speeding. He said, you have a failure to pay support.
And this was the first time you're driving along routine traffic stop and they say this to you?
Yes, ma'am. In fact, they handcuffed me, and when they did, I was pretty mad, and I struggled a little bit with him.
Grab your tissues! Miss Hayslip shares how she grew up always believing Mr. Hayslip was her dad because, well, that's what her mom told her. Despite him being more ghost than dad, she hung on to that belief. But wait till you hear about the plot twist at school that cranks up the drama to a whole new level.
That you were told as a child.
As I was growing up, I knew David as my father. And then my mother would tell me that he had nothing to do with me. He never wanted anything to do with me, but was trying to get with her.
As a child, what's your first memory where your mother told you?
It was around 5. She told me that he could be my father, but earlier she always said David Hayslip.
Talk about a schoolyard scoop. Miss Hayslip and a girl named Courtney Hayslip discover they might be sisters. That's one heck of a how's your father moment, literally. They piece together their family puzzle right between math and lunch period. You won't believe the bombshell Miss Hayslip drops next about her stint in foster care.
I met one of the Hayslips in school, which is Courtney, and I told her that my dad was David, and she also said that was her father. And she went home to my Aunt Susie and told her that she met me. My Aunt Susie told the truth.
Up until that point, you all going to the same school and don't know
Yes,
you're
Your Honor.
potentially sisters?
Yes.
For a long time, they rode the same school bus and didn't even know it.
Here comes a heart-wrencher. Miss Hayslip throws down the big question. Why didn't Mr. Hayslip take her in, leading to her long years in foster care? It's a moment that could make onions cry. Just you wait until Mr. Hayslip spills the beans on his legal battles. It's a real doozy.
And then finally, after several months, she finally set it up to where that I could meet Celeste. My first impression of her, I thought she looked a lot like me when I was little. We had a bond that we had connected, and then we started getting close, and then her mother, a long time, and the next thing you know, they put her into foster care.
5.5 years.
I just want to know why, if you knew me back then, why didn't you try to get it taken care of back then?
Strap in for some legal labyrinth tales. Mr. Hayslip dives into how he's been duking it out with the law, trapped by a default paternity rule. He's convinced it's all a big mistake, but the drama is just heating up because his daughter Courtney is about to step into the spotlight with some skepticism of her own.
That's not even part of my family, and I've fought, it's Cass County, Michigan. Every month I have filed paperwork with them. They deny me, they deny me. Since I didn't answer the letter, the original letter, for the blood, back then it was a blood test, then I was deemed the father by default.
Exactly.
And they're saying there's nothing I can do to get a DNA test. I'm just, for 18 years, I'm stuck paying child support no matter what, because I had a fling.
Cue the suspense music. Courtney Hayslip steps up and shares why she's not buying the sister story. Turns out Dad never mentioned anything about having another daughter. If secrets were a sport, Mr. Hayslip might be league champion. But hold on to your popcorn. The DNA results are up next, and it's a real cliffhanger.
Are you doubtful that she is your sister?
A little bit, because I've never been told about her. I wouldn't think that he would deliberately try to hide something from the family if he knew it was his.
I had 2 other children from another mother after my marriage had broken up.
Yes.
I had gotten with someone else. I did not hide those children from them or anything. I told them straight up, you know, hey, you got a brother, you got a sister, here they are, let's meet them.
You can't make this stuff up. DNA results are in, and guess what?
In the case of Hayslip versus Hayslip, when it comes to Celeste Hayslip, Mr. Hayslip, you are her father.
So get this, Mr. Thompson strides in, totally convinced he's the dad. He's like, I've never met Ms. Robinson, but today's DNA test will totally show she's mine. Stick around to see how Mr. Fresneda reacts to that bomb.
Mr. Thompson, you've dragged the defendant, Mr. Fresneda, to court to prove that you, not he, fathered Ms. Jasmine Robinson. You've never met Ms. Robinson, but say today you'll prove she's yours.
Plot twist. Mr. Thompson spills the beans about his past fling with Ms. Robinson's mom when Fresneda was out of the picture. He dipped out when Fresneda came back, but now he's all, she looks like me. The next bit will have you rolling.
Me and her mother had relations while Miss Fresneda was away. When Miss Fresneda came back into the picture, I stopped seeing Sonia, and she was pregnant. Child was born. Family members came to me stating, you know, that she looks like me and things of that nature. Sonia said no, you know, she knows who she got pregnant by.
Here's the kicker. Thompson got a call that Robinson's mom passed away, and apparently her last wish was this paternity test. He's here with heart on sleeve, trying to prove he's the dad. Up next, Ms. Robinson drops her side of the story, and it's a doozy.
It's sorry to say, but, you know, I got a phone call saying that she had passed away. And I was like,
are you speaking of Jasmine's mother, Ms.
Yes,
Robinson's mother?
Yes. It was her wishes to say that it was Mr. Fresneda's baby. They raised her, but I'm here today to prove that I am the father. In my heart, she's my daughter.
So, Ms. Robinson's chilling one day when, boom, Mr. Thompson slides into her DMs back in 2010. Fast forward to 2015, he hits her up again with the big dad reveal. Wait till you see how Mr. Fresneda takes this news.
5 years later, 2015, he had reached out to me again. I have a copy of the Facebook message that he sent me saying, like, hi, do you know who I am? And I had said no. And then that's when he had started explaining the situation of how he's supposed to be my dad and not George, and it was a big secret, and like everybody knew but nobody said anything about it.
And here comes Mr. Fresneda, totally aware of the whole dad drama. He's wishing Thompson had just come to him first instead of going through Facebook. Things are about to get real spicy with Aunt Felicia stepping into the mix.
I asked her mother that Jasmine was my firstborn, and that was good enough for me, Your Honor. We went on and had 4 more children after that, and they all belong to me. Now my point in here, he would have addressed me before he sent her a Facebook or whatever. I know he couldn't be able to find me because we had no contact with each other. He lives in one town and I live in another.
Hold on to your popcorn because Aunt Felicia is about to stir the pot. She's seen some family resemblances that she just can't ignore and thinks there might be more to the story. The DNA results are up next, and they're a real game changer.
Did she ever mention to you that Mr. Thompson could potentially be Ms. Robinson's father?
She always denied it. If we brought it to her attention, she always said that Ladden was not Jasmine's father. Because as Jasmine was growing up, as the aunt, started seeing a little difference in the children.
You did?
I did.
The moment of truth. Judge whips out the DNA results, and guess what?
It has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Thompson. You are her father.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Sorry.
You know,
I'm sorry.
When me and her mother got together, I was trying to get her sister, her mother's sister. That's how it really started out. When what had happened, her mother pushed up and said that I'm gonna make you my man because her sister wasn't that into me at that time. And we made plans to spend that weekend together.
Did you get 2 girls pregnant at the same time?
Yes, I did, Your Honor, but I didn't mean to.
You didn't mean to.
That's the only thing I can really say. But it happened. But at the same time, she did call me a clown. I won't respect your court, but she looking like one. Like for real.
But she met.
His mom came down for Christmases, birthdays, everything.
Gave us
and she
everything.
treated us like we was her grandkid. And it hurts me so much to hear this man sit here in this courtroom and lie to you like that. Honestly, spitting image, 100%. And you gonna sit up here and say that I'm not your son?
Ms. Robertson spills the tea about her wild ride starting at age 8 when she found out the dude she called dad wasn't her bio dad. Her mom pointed to Mr. McBain Sr., standing awkwardly as the defendant, and was like, yup, he's the one. Ms. Robertson, tired of the dad drama, hauled Mr. McBain to court to clear the air once and for all.
Ms. Robertson, your world was turned upside down at the age of 8 when you received the shocking news that the man you believed to be your biological father was not. You were informed that the defendant, Mr. McBain Sr., is your father. You've dragged him to court to prove that today.
Mr. McBain Sr. steps up, totally denying he's the father, thanks to a soap opera-worthy plot involving his military days and his then-wife's supposed side hustles. He's all, nope, not the daddy, with the confidence of someone who's watched one too many Maury episodes. He's convinced he's not the dad because, plot twist, he has receipts, or so he claims.
You say during your military career you were married to the plaintiff's mother. However, you're certain that you are not her father because you claim her mother was unfaithful and you have proof.
Ms. Robertson throws back to a quirky childhood memory where her mom literally flipped open a phone book, pointed to Mr. McBain's name, declared, bingo, that's your dad. Little did she know, this random phone book moment would turn into a full-blown family mystery. At 8, she shrugged it off, but now she's like, wait a minute.
When I was 8 years old, my mother had sat me down. She had found Mr. McBain in the phone book and she said, this is your biological father right here.
She pointed him out in the phone book.
Yes, Your Honor. From that point, I didn't really think anything of it. I was 8 years old. It was kind of like it was nothing.
Ms. Robertson is baffled why Mr. McBain's name is chilling on her birth certificate if he's so sure he isn't her dad. She's waving around proof like a detective, and even the judge is leaning in for a better look. There's a vibe in the air that something big's about to drop, and Ms. Robertson is all in for finding the truth.
If he's denying it, why is his name on my birth certificate? Why did he sign his rights away? I have proof right here.
I can see it's still affecting you, even as an adult woman. This
Yes,
memory
Your
of being told this at 8 years old and having so many unanswered questions.
Yes, my name may be on there, Your Honor. However, it's on there because the state put it on there. I had nothing to do with putting my name on her birth certificate.
Mr. McBain explains why his name ended up on the birth cert despite his protests. He was roped in by marriage laws, typical bureaucracy stuff. He also mentions letting another guy adopt Ms. Robertson because, well, drama. He's making it sound like he was just trying to do right by her, even though he's adamant about the not the dad bit.
Yeah.
So your name was automatically placed on the birth certificate as father. But even in that moment at the hospital,
I wasn't there.
you weren't there, but you would not have voluntarily placed your name on the birth certificate.
That's one of the reasons why I let Mr. Ayers go ahead and adopt her, because she did deserve to have a father. It's not her fault who her mother is.
Years later, Ms. Robertson had a super brief meetup with Mr. McBain, which ended with him ghosting her like a bad Tinder date. She recalls this moment with the kind of sadness that would win her an Oscar. Mr. McBain, on the other hand, acts like he's hearing this story for the first time.
I let it go until I turned right before my 13th birthday. And that's when I had told my mother that all I wanted for my 13th birthday was to meet Mr. McBain.
What did she say?
She got it for me.
I don't remember that at all.
Ms. Robertson, what do you remember?
It only lasted about 40 minutes. That was like more than anything in the world for me at that time.
In the middle of the courtroom, Mr. McBain throws down accusations like confetti at a parade, suggesting Ms. Graham, the mom, was playing the field while they were married. He's like a detective in a bad cop show, pointing out mismatched boots and coats as evidence of her infidelity. Ms. Graham's defense? A sassy. Those are your boots, buddy.
Was working 7 days a week for about 3 months straight. Went back home, and as I'm walking across the living room, I look over and there's a pair of boots and a coat on the floor and a coat on
Your Honor, those were his boots and his coat.
They were size 10, Your Honor. I wear size 12. I walked over to her room. I beat on the door. I said, I don't know who you are in there, but you've got 30 seconds to get out of my house or you're going to be really sorry.
Mr. McBain pulls out the wild card, suggesting another dude could be the dad. Because, get this, he was supposedly sterile at the time. He throws in some details about the other guy's heritage, gets a twist in a bad detective novel. The court can't help but chuckle at his attempt to connect the dots in such a bizarre way.
Excuse me. And who is that?
It was an individual I was stationed with.
Yeah, you were stationed with a lot.
I know.
But
So are you. The Coast Guard telling me I was sterile. The fact that the man's Hawaiian, he's Samoan.
Your Honor, this girl is white as white could be.
You're saying the other guy is Samoan.
Yes.
Ms. Robertson shares her deep yearning to connect with her roots and possibly siblings, making everyone in the courtroom reach for the tissues. It's a touching moment where she's just looking for a bit of closure and a few answers about where she comes from. Despite the courtroom chaos, her quest for family ties is seriously heartwarming.
Even if your account is true, even if she was sleeping around, if she was your wife and you were also sleeping with her, couldn't you potentially be Ms. Robertson's biological father?
I don't feel that she looks like me, as much like me as she thinks she does. Also, due to the fact of what the Coast Guard told me, and due to the fact that Miss Graham is a cheater.
The moment of truth arrives.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. McBain Sr., you are not her father.
So, here we go. Talk about a wake-up call. Ms. Walker drops a bomb about how a brush with the beyond has her scrambling to find out who her daddy is. She spills the beans on why figuring this out has jumped to top of her to-do list. Next up, grab your popcorn, because you won't believe who steps up to the plate.
Ms. Walker, you claim that your near-death experience has made your desire to determine your biological father more important than ever. After believing one man was your father, you learned about another possibility, Bruce Simmons. But you say you must first prove to his doubtful wife that he is your father.
And here comes the party pooper. Mrs. Simmons is having none of it, totally trashing the idea that her hubby could be the father. She's all about Ms. Walker cutting her losses and checking out other prospects. Buckle up, as she's not done throwing shade just yet.
Simmons, you contend that there's absolutely no way your husband is Ms. Walker's biological father. You argue Ms. Walker needs to let go of this fantasy and move on to another candidate.
Oh boy, here comes the waterworks. Mrs. Simmons starts dishing out the backstory with her man, insisting he's as fertile as a desert. She's pretty much calling her husband a dud in the baby-making department. Wait till you hear what comes out of the woodwork next.
We just got married 2003. I have 2 biological kids. We never made any. I believe my husband is sterile. I believe he can't make no kids. If we've been together that long and we ain't make none together, what makes somebody just pop up and say, oh, you the...
And so the 2 children you have
are not his.
So you know you're capable of having children, but don't believe he is.
Yes.
Ms. Walker isn't just throwing darts blindfolded here. She's been detectiving around to pin down her bio dad, knocking on doors and shaking the family tree. She hits us with a twist about a medical emergency that's more gripping than a daytime soap. The saga continued, and you're gonna want to stick around for this.
So Ms. Walker, so why do you believe he's your biological father?
Your Honor, I went on this search, and I didn't particularly just go out and just pick this random guy. In the beginning, I was also told that there was another man that was on my birth certificate, and I was told that was my father.
Cue the dramatic music. A heart-stopping medical scare has Ms. Walker chasing down her family tree for a blood match. Talk about intense. Doctors drop the bomb that the guy she thought was her dad isn't a match. Just when you think it's all figured out, another mystery guest comes knocking.
I excluded him because, as you know, I had a near-death experience. I was going for a congestive heart failure, and in order to have this lung biopsy, they said that I can reach out to my family, and boy, they went for donor blood. So I called my dad that I was told that was and asked him to go and asked his family all to go down, give blood so I wouldn't have to have donor blood.
Enter Mr. Simmons. And man, he have a story to tell. He's reminiscing about old flames, weekend flings, stirring up more dirt than a gossip magazine. Keep your ears open. The tea is piping hot and ready to spill.
When me and her mother got together, I was trying to get her sister, her mother's sister. That's how it really started out. When what had happened, her mother pushed up and said that I'm gonna make you my man because her sister wasn't that into me at that time. And we made plans to spend that weekend together. So we spent that weekend together, and then after that, we lost touch with each other because she just turned around and she upped and left.
Things are heating up. Moment of truth time, and the judge is about to drop the mic.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Bruce Simmons, you are not her father.
Did you catch that? Straight into the deep end we go. Ms. McDuffie, you are here today to prove that your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Edwards, is the father of your 2-year-old daughter, Samia. You say you are tired of the defendant denying your child and evading his responsibility. Is that correct? Yes, Your Honor. Get ready. It's about to get even juicier.
Prove that your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Edwards, is the father of your 2-year-old daughter, Samia. You say you are tired of the defendant denying your child and evading. You have real reason to doubt you are the father of Ms. McDuffie's daughter, claim after several attempts at trying to obtain a DNA test, you know today's results will clear you of any responsibility.
Hold on to your popcorn. This part's a doozy. Your Honor, these results are important because I know Mr. Sammy is the father. He's a pop-in and pop-out dad. One minute he's claiming her, the next minute now she's not his daughter. And at this point, I just want my daughter to be taken care of and get the same love and support that I had growing up as a child as well. And I just feel like it's unfair for us to have to be here today. When I've allowed him opportunity, I've never denied him from his child. And I'm still getting a backlash as if this is not his daughter. Oh boy, keep your eyes peeled for the next scene.
I know Mr. Sammy Edwards is the father. He's a pop-in and pop-out dad. One minute he's claiming her, the next minute she's not his daughter. And at this point, I just want my daughter to be taken care of, get the same love and support that I had growing up as a child as well. And I just feel like it's unfair for us to have to be here today. I've allowed him opportunity. I've never denied him from his child. I'm still getting a backlash as if this is not his daughter.
Geez, didn't see that one coming. Thank you. I'll be honest, finally, about how I feel about the situation. She said I'm a pop-in and pop-out dad or whatever, just simply because she's a gorgeous little girl, I don't want to get too attached to her, get my family too attached to her, because I just don't know if she's mine or not. Strap in, backstory is a roller coaster.
Just simply because she's a gorgeous little girl, I don't want to get too attached to her or get my family too attached to her because, I just don't know if she's mine or not.
But you come see her all the time. Like, you're constantly there. You pop in, you pop out. One minute you calling her, that's good. Can I see my baby? Can I do this with my daughter?
Well,
and then now you're not.
Here's where it gets hilariously tangled. So, Mr. Edwards, can you take me to the day you met Ms. McDuffie? How did you all meet? I saw her she was a waitress behind a bar. You know what I'm saying? I really ain't, pay too much attention to her till she really, walk from across the bar, I saw them buns and I had to proceed. Brace yourself. Their fling starts with a bang.
I saw her she was a waitress behind the bar. You know what I'm saying? I really ain't, pay too much attention to her till she really, walked across the bar. I saw them buns. I had to proceed, I proceeded to the buns, I got a number, and at first, we were texting for about a week.
This relationship kickoff is comedy gold. I called her, I came and picked her up, and, we got some good food, some good drinky drink, I guess I proceeded to those buns. The laughs don't stop here. Wait till you hear about the twist coming up.
I called her again, you know what I'm saying? So she obviously was out of the situation with him, I guess. And that's what it is, I called her, I came and picked her up. We got some good food, some good drinky drink. I guess I proceeded to those buns. Back to the buns.
Yeah, you might have proceeded to a bun in the oven, too.
Right.
Wait till you get a load of this next hiccup. Well, you were drinking that night. So then what? Do you all decide you're gonna date? Do you ever go on a date? Be in a relationship? Does this sexual relationship continue? Edwards. The plot thickens. And it's messier than a dropped pie.
So then what? Do you all decide you're gonna date? Do you ever go on a date? Be in a relationship? Does this sexual relationship continue?
I'm sorry. 2 weeks, like a week prior to, us having sex in the car, like the second date, she called me and said she was pregnant.
A week? 2 weeks?
It was a week.
No, it was not.
It was like a week.
Cue the circus music, because this just turned into a sideshow. Her ex and his whole family. What happened? Me up on social media. I'm talking about harassing the hell out of me. Talking about this is not your child. You're stupid. Why are you taking care of this child? Next up, the delivery room drama. Don't touch that dial.
Yeah, so you say her ex and his whole family?
Her ex and his whole family hit me up on social media. I'm talking about harassing the hell out of me, talking about this is not your child. You're stupid. Why are you taking care of this child? Or why you got her? Oh, not child, but why you got her?
How pregnant was Ms. McDuffie
like
at the
6
time?
or 7 months, you know what I'm saying, around that time.
He's lying.
Time for the baby grand entrance. Cue the spotlight. When Samia was born, who was there with you? Sammy was right there with me, holding one leg and the nurse on the other leg. And he played Erykah Badu when I pushed her out. So he was right there. He was right there. The final verdict is next. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.
Sammy was right there with me holding one leg and the nurse on the other leg. And he played Erykah Badu when I pushed her out. So he was right there.
I'm more spiritual. I see you had the beads on. They look like African beads. You know what I'm saying? I'm very spiritual. So I wanted half of me felt like he was mine. So I still wanted to really at least beat her.
You think that was wild? Just wait for the bombshell.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Edwards, you are the father.
guess who just walked in? Yep, it's Judge Lake kicking things off. At the start, Judge Lake lays down the law in the courtroom. Ms. Haysbert is here throwing down the gauntlet against Mr. Howard, demanding a paternity test for little Ricardo Jr., who's just chilling at 6 months old, unaware of the drama. She claims Howard hasn't pitched in a dime or a diaper. Buckle up, folks. The tea is about to spill.
Ms. Haysbert, you are suing the father of your 6-month-old son for a paternity test. The defendant, Mr. Howard, has never financially supported baby Ricardo Jr.
Talk about a plot twist. Ms. Haysbert comes out swinging, accusing Mr. Howard of ditching her once the baby news hit after he had painted dreams of weddings and baby carriages. She drops another bomb. Howard's got another bun in the oven that's only 2 weeks older. Oh, and it's just getting juicy.
You also state that he once led you to believe that he wanted to marry you and even asked you to have his baby. But once you were actually pregnant, you say he abandoned you, has since fathered another baby who is only 2 weeks older than your child.
Hold on to your popcorn. Mr. Howard fires back, claiming he was duped into thinking he wasn't the daddy. And wait for it, he's also suing Ms. Haysbert for pawning Grandma's precious ring. The courtroom's heating up, and Howard's not playing around. You'll want to stick around for what's coming.
Mr. Howard, you argue that Ms. Haysbert told you that Ricardo Jr. was not your son and therefore is not your responsibility. You are countersuing for $1,000 in damages for a ring Ms. Howard pawned that was given to you by your late grandmother.
Now, let's take a stroll down memory lane. Ms. Haysbert reminisces about how she met Howard at a football game, and things got cozy from co-workers to more than friends. This backstory sets the stage for all the he said, she said that turned their world upside down. You won't believe what's next.
I met this clown at the Washington Redskins Stadium when we used to work together.
1 second. Let's use respectful language.
We're co-workers, and then after that, we became friends. Like, we used to chill with each other. After that, you know, we started having sex, and we got drunk. So, yeah, we got drunk and had sex, and that's how I conceived my son.
Drunk and had sex?
After that, like, I knew he had a girlfriend, and, you know, I didn't mind because we were just friends.
Ready for a roller coaster? Initially, Howard was over the moon about the baby news, according to Ms. Haysbert. But plot twist, he flips the script halfway through her pregnancy. The vibe shift, and not for the better. Brace yourself. The next part is a doozy.
Once I got pregnant, and I told him I was pregnant, he acted like he won the lottery. He was so excited. Oh, Junior. Oh, I can't wait for you to have my son. He was so excited.
Where the money at? Where's the money at if I won the lottery?
As soon as my 5th or 6th month of pregnancy, he wanted to change up the table. He wasn't there. He didn't even come to the doctor's appointment.
At about 6 months.
She's alive.
Yes.
This segment is hotter than a summer BBQ. Ms. Haysbert throws shade, accusing Howard of double timing with another lady. Howard kinda, sorta, maybe admits it, but doesn't seem to think it's a biggie. The court's gasping, and you'll want to hear what's thrown next.
And that's when the girlfriend started calling my phone, telling me, oh, they're still together, that he never broke up with her, that he lied, basically, that she lived with him.
Can't believe that you're lying in court.
She asked me, when did we start dating? And we were pregnant around the same time. So she was asking, his daughter was born December 27th.
This is a good moment that I think I want to hear from Mr. Howard.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes.
Grab your hats, we're diving deep. Howard confesses to unintentionally spreading his love a bit too thin, fathering kids with 2 different gals at the same time. The crowd's eating it up, and you can't make this stuff up. The drama's about to escalate, so don't touch that dial.
Did you get 2 girls pregnant at the same time?
Yes, I did, Your Honor, but I didn't mean to.
You didn't mean to.
That's the only thing I can really say. But it happened. But at the same time, she did call me a clown. I want to respect your court, but she looking like one. Like for real.
But she admitted that you slept with her, so it was obviously something about
you wanted this. So what are you saying?
I ain't put no gun in your head.
Things are getting hotter than a telenovela in here. Emotions run high as Ms. Haysbert and Mr. Howard sling mud back and forth. Each claims the other is spinning a web of lies about their rocky romance and co-parenting chaos. Stay tuned because the evidence round is a real kicker.
She told you she was pregnant. You said, if it's mine, I'm gonna man up.
Yes.
But at some point, you said to yourself, this is important that I get a DNA test. You felt like this could potentially be someone else's child as well?
She was bouncing around.
I wasn't bouncing, I was only with you. That's you. You were sleeping with me and Kiana at the same time. You had to lie and say that you weren't with her. Yes, you lied.
Why did I have to
You
lie?
told me that you weren't with her anymore.
Here comes Judge Lake with the hard-hitting facts. She pulls out the text messages that show Howard was all sweet on the baby, contradicting his courtroom coolness. The truth's out, and it's messier than a reality TV show. The grand finale is just around the corner.
Love you, babe. Kiss my son for me.
Kiss my son for me.
You're acknowledging him. How are you going to deny him then acknowledge him? Thank you very much.
Okay, since we got so much about my son, since you trying to make it seem like I'm just a bad guy and all this stuff, won't you see?
He was in the hospital.
Won't you see the text message that she wrote me and said that my son was dead? What about that?
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. DNA results time.
Pertaining to 6-month-old London Howard, Mr. Howard, You are the father.
We know. Deborah, I don't sleep with everybody like Deborah do.
Judge Lake kicks things off by turning to Ms. Woods, who's there to drop a bomb. Mr. Volmar supposedly made her pregnant during their short fling, and now, guess what? He's playing the ghost game, acting like nothing happened. She's all in to prove he's the daddy and get him to pony up for child support.
Ms. Woods, you say you had a brief sexual relationship with Mr. Volmar, which resulted in him intentionally impregnating you. You say Mr. Volmar now refuses to take responsibility for his child, and you are here today to prove he is your baby's father.
Miss Woods spills the tea about their meet cute or meet crazy at a club while she was having issues with her baby daddy. She makes it sound like Mr. Volmar was practically love at first sight. They swapped digits, and the rest was history, including a nightclub romance and a whoops moment where she warned him she's super fertile, calling herself a fast breeder. The court cracks up at that one.
One night I went to the club and wound up running into Mr. Volmar. He actually walked up to me while I was having a drink. We exchanged numbers. I wound up leaving the club. He called me the following morning and asked me, can I come over to his house? I told him yes, but I had to make sure that, my baby father was leaving out for work that following morning.
Mr. Volmar gets his turn to be skeptical. Even though Ms. Woods hit him with the pregnancy news, he wasn't buying. It was his kid. Condom broke? Sure, but he recalls a few too many breakages to keep track.
So you admit you had a sexual relationship with Ms. Woods?
That's it.
You weren't in a committed relationship?
Never.
Once she told you she was pregnant, did you immediately think it was your child?
No.
You didn't. What were you thinking, sir?
I said, wow, congratulations.
Do you agree with her assertion that when you all had sex, the condom broke?
Condom broke. It was sex. It was fun.
And the condom broke?
Yeah.
Things heat up. Ms. Woods tries to set the record straight about who was doing what and when, which sounds like a daytime soap opera. She claims Mr. Volmar knew the score, but he's not having any of it, suggesting she was playing house with another man, too.
He automatically told me that he wasn't the father because I was staying with a man at the time.
You lived with him. You just can't visit me.
It does not matter. I was at your house every day, so how I had time to have sex with you and have sex with him?
In the bed with him. I mean, of course you're going to have sex.
Ms. Woods, if you were living with him...
I was in a relationship with my other kid's father, but I was not having sex with him within that month I conceived.
Ms. Woods gives us the lowdown on why she strayed from her main squeeze to Mr. Volmar. It's all about the drama at home, folks. She was looking for a little fun, and Mr. Volmar was her escape hatch.
When I found out I was pregnant, I ain't have no choice but to tell him that he might be the father because I was staying with him at the time. So I'm stuck having a baby.
Are you?
Yeah, I had the baby.
By who?
By you.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. I'm 100% sure.
I don't even know his name.
Look at that baby. That baby looks just like you. She don't look nothing like me.
Judge Lake isn't letting Ms. Woods off easy. She pushes her to admit she stirred up this whole storm herself, and guess what? Ms. Woods actually agrees. Yeah, she messed up big time.
I mean, you've probably been going through some problems.
Right,
and that's what couples do. I mean, there's that old saying that, the way that you get over one person is to get under another person. But that's not true, as you can see.
Right.
Are you still in a relationship with the other guy?
No, and the fact is, he's hurt over the situation, but at the end of the day, I can't blame him.
The room goes silent as the DNA results are about to drop like a hot new single.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Volmar, you are the father.
Thank you! Thank you! You're the father. Thank you!
Buckle up, folks. Here comes a wild one. Judge Lake kicks things off with the soap opera-worthy case of Heron, Medley, Johnson vs. Medley. We've got 3 grown-ups, 2 potential sons, and 1 maybe daughter, all here to find out if Mr. Medley Sr. is their dad. They're not just here for a casual family reunion. They're here to shake the family tree and see what falls out. Let's see how this family puzzle gets pieced together.
Mr. Heron and Mr. Medley, you are here to prove to Mr. Medley Sr. that you are indeed his son.
Yes, Your
and
Honor.
say results of today's DNA test will force him to stop denying you.
Grab your tissues. It's about to get real. The Medley brothers spill the beans on how tough it was growing up Son's dad. They're not holding back, hitting Mr. Medley Sr. with the hard questions and letting the emotional floodgates open. These guys are looking for answers, and boy, do they deserve some. Hang tight, the emotional roller coaster is just picking up speed.
You had every reason to doubt all 3.
It affected me in life. Want to know why he wasn't in my life? Why would you why would you sign my birth certificate if you deny me as your child? It hurts me like all get out.
You might want to sit down for this part. The courtroom hears more tear-jerking stories about their childhoods, filled with fleeting visits from a grandmother who tried to patch things up. This segment is like peeling an onion, lots of layers, and it might make you cry. And guess what? The next bit promises even more jaw-dropping revelations.
His mom came down for Christmases,
birthdays, everything.
Gave us
and she
everything.
treated us like we was her grandkid. You guys are always going to be my grandkid. And that hurts me so much. Honestly,
Spitting image, 100%. And you gonna sit up here and say that I'm not your son?
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, DNA results time. Judge Lake drops the bombshell. Mr. Medley Sr. is the biological father of the Medley brothers. The courtroom's buzzing, the brothers are buzzing, even the walls are probably buzzing. Just when you think you've seen it all, the plot thickens even more.
Was after that. After he got burnt, that's when they got divorced.
And I want that for you all. I have the results. In the case of Heron Medley v. Medley, you are the father.
Switching gears to Ms. Johnson, who's been waiting so patiently she deserves a medal. She dives into her life story, which is just as tangled as you'd expect. She's looking for closure, hoping Mr. Medley Sr. might be her dad. As the tension builds, you'll want to lean in for this next part. It's a doozy.
One day I was looking in my mirror when I was a teenager and I didn't look like her anymore. And I'm like, I don't know who I'm looking at. That I'm looking at in the mirror, I need to know. So I was like, Mom, so she told me his name was Victor Medley, but you are not to contact him while you are in my house.
Hold the phone, folks.
Mr. Medley Sr., you are not her father.
Okay.